welcome back to my channel. My name is Ashley for those of you who are new here. So today I am participating in the Holiday 2020 collab. I learned about this through Taylor Elmore. I've been watching her channel for about, maybe a year and a half now? So I was really excited when I heard about this collab because I'm gonna try to make it through this video without crying. Okay, so for most of this year, oh God, I told myself I wasn't gonna cry. For most of this year, one of my grandmas has not been doing too well. So 2020 already has been like the hardest year, and so when I found out my grandma wasn't doing too well, I got really excited about this collab because, you know, I was like, great, it would be a great way to, you know, show the world how great my grandma is. Oh God, I'm gonna mess up my makeup. Sorry guys. I said I wasn't gonna cry. Okay, sorry. So, right before... Okay, so I thought this was, you know, just an amazing way to show just, you know, how much my grandma means to me and share one of, like, my favorite recipes that she makes every holiday. And then right before I started filming that video, my sister-in-law lost her grandma to COVID. And it's been really hard for her and her family. And it's been hard for me to watch her. And so I figured I wanted to dedicate this video to her instead of, you know, doing the original recipe I was going to go with. So I asked my sister-in-law, I said, you know, what were some of your favorite things that your grandma Sharon made? And one of the things she told me was she used to make the most amazing cinnamon rolls. And I just, you know, I have like this fond memory of cinnamon rolls being like Christmassy. You know, I don't really remember who in my family made cinnamon rolls, but I do remember cinnamon rolls were a big thing in my family. But my grandmother on my mom's side makes the best chili. I'm gonna do a classic Midwestern combination, chili and cinnamon rolls. If you're from the Midwest, you know what I'm talking about. Chili and cinnamon rolls is so good. They serve it for lunch in like elementary school and stuff. So my chili is nowhere near as good as my grandma's. I don't have the exact recipe. I also don't have the recipe for Grandma Sharon's cinnamon rolls. And so I'm just using the chili recipe that I just tend to use off the top of my head. And I'm going to link the recipe for the cinnamon rolls that I found in the description box. And at the end of the video, just stick around because there's going to be a montage for Grandma Sharon. But I will say, if you are watching this and you are a grandma, God, I said I wasn't gonna cry.
So you can clean
It's hard. Okay, whew. If you're watching this and you are a grandma, please take into consideration that maybe if you have recipes that you know your grandkids love, to just write them down for us, because my sister-in-law's grandma specifically, thank you, didn't write down anything. She just used everything off the top of her head. And so that's why I had to use like a Pinterest recipe for the cinnamon rolls. So that being said, sorry for all the tears. We're gonna get into the video now. Alright everybody, so we are going to start with the cinnamon rolls. So like I said before, all of the ingredients and the directions for these are going to be in the description box. So I just started with a cup of warm milk, and 1 tablespoon of yeast and 2 tablespoons of white sugar. I'm just going to give that a good mix. For some reason, this recipe didn't say to let the yeast rise on its own, so I just continued the recipe with 1 egg. Don't mind the fact that it was super hard to break that yolk. I don't know what happened. Now I'm just adding in 3 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to give that a good mix until that butter is broken up into that mixture. Then I'm going to slowly add the flour. I started off with a 1/2 cup and then just kept adding until the entire dough was together. I kind of gave up on the hand mixer. I don't have a stand mixer because I haven't been wanting to buy one. I don't really make my own dough that often. And so, yeah, I gave up and just kind of kneaded the dough by hand, which if you don't have either mixer, I guess you can do as well. Now I'm just lightly greasing the dough and the bowl, and I'm going to cover that and let that rise for about an hour. Okay, now for the chili, I start out with a pound of ground beef that I browned up yesterday to save some time. And then I'm going to be adding in 1 can of light kidney beans, drained, and then a full can of chili beans with the liquid still in there. I have some onions and peppers that I diced up. I'm also going to be adding in 1 full can of diced tomatoes, as well as 2 8-ounce cans of tomato sauce. Obviously, you could get the 16-ounce cans and then just put 1, but that's what I had in my pantry, and I didn't feel like getting 1 16-ounce can. I'm also adding in some beef broth. The recipe calls for 2 cups, but I forgot that I halved the recipe, so I still ended up with the 2 cups, but it's fine because it's going to go in the freezer for leftovers, just whenever we need some chili. And then I use this Trader Joe's chili seasoning. Every time I make a pot of chili, I use at least half of that bottle. So you're going to go ahead and give that a good mix and cover it and put it on high for anywhere from 4 to 6 hours. Okay, so now for the filling for the cinnamon rolls, you start out with 1 cup of brown sugar and add 2 tablespoons of cinnamon. Mix that all together while you're melting a 1/2 cup of butter. So now that my dough has sat for an hour, I'm just going to punch that down and move that to a lightly floured surface so that I can roll it out. When you look at the recipe, it says to roll it out into a rectangle. I attempted that and kind of got frustrated because it wasn't making like a perfect rectangle, but whatever, it was fine. It's not a big deal, I guess, however you guys can roll it out. Like I said before, I'm not really into making my own dough. This is one of the very few times that I have done it, and yeah, guess I'm just trying to get the hang of it before I really fully commit. Alright, my dough is all rolled out, so I'm just going to go ahead and spoon some of that melted butter onto the dough. I'm going to try to get it as even as possible. It ended up being a little bit more butter than I personally needed, so I would say stick to the 1/2 cup, but I think we used about 1/4 of a cup for that whole thing of dough. And then after that, you're just going to sprinkle on your cinnamon and brown sugar mixture until everything is evenly coated. All right, here comes the fun part. So now you get to roll it. It does say in the recipe to make sure that you roll it as tight as possible. I realized that is because, especially on my end pieces, they were super loose. So when I went to bake them, those end pieces were really not as great as the middle pieces because the middle was rolled pretty tight as opposed to the ends. So I just rolled it up and now I'm cutting them into about 1-inch pieces, and then I'm going to place them in a lightly greased pie dish. You can use anything for this, a cookie tray, a baking dish, whatever you want, but I just thought a pie dish would look aesthetically better, so that's what I chose. So now that the pie tray is assembled, I'm going to wrap it with some plastic wrap. I also lightly sprayed some cooking spray on the top so that the plastic wrap didn't stick, so that I can let those rise for about 45 minutes. The ones that are left over on the cutting board that you see, I'm putting on a cookie tray. I'm going to put those in the freezer to flash freeze for a minute, and then I can actually put those in a Ziploc and save them in the freezer. Now while my cinnamon rolls are in the oven, I'm going to make the frosting for the top. So I'm starting out with 4 ounces of soft cream cheese and a half a cup of soft butter. I put a little bit of vanilla, the recipe's exact, I'm not, and then a little bit of milk and 1 cup of powdered sugar and blended that until it all came together. Okay everybody, so this is how everything turned out. So we have our chili, yummy, and our cinnamon rolls, which I think the frosting, if you don't like this much frosting, I would probably suggest cutting this recipe down, because like I didn't realize it when I was pouring it, but it ended up being a lot of frosting. Like I thought it would soak in a little bit more, but it didn't. But it's okay, it's perfectly fine. My kids will definitely eat this up. And yeah, if you are not from the Midwest, let me just show you. So we take a piece of cinnamon roll, right? We dip it in the chili. Believe me, this is good. The sweet and salty and smoky and spicy combination is amazing. That is the best. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you are new here and you're not already, please subscribe. I would really appreciate if you subscribe and join the family. Please give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Have a great holiday, everybody, and stay safe.
I can only imagine what it will be like when I walk by your side. I can only imagine what my eyes will see when your face is before me. I can only imagine. I can only imagine. Surrounded by your glory, what will my heart feel? Will I dance for you, Jesus? Or in awe of you be still? Will I stand in your presence? To my knees or will I fall? Will I sing hallelujah? Will I be able to speak at all? I can only imagine. I can only imagine. I can only imagine when that day comes, when I find myself standing in the sun. I can only imagine.